Hey friends, it's Miss LeBlanc. I am so excited to continue our close reading of What is Pollination by Bobby Coleman. Today, we're going to read a little bit more about pollination and we're going to practice answering questions to show our clear understanding of the information in the text. So, before we begin, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper. So press pause real quick and go grab something to write with and something to write on. Okay, welcome back. So let's dive in. Before we left school, we had started reading this awesome information text about pollination. Remember, good readers use text features in information text to help them find information quickly and efficiently. For example, the table of contents is a great text feature that shows what the chapters are and what page they can be found on inside the text. So, we're going to review today what pollen and pollinators are, and we're also going to practice answering questions to clearly show our understanding. So let's first take a look. Oh, and we're also going to pay attention to the helpful text features that guide us in our reading of this awesome text. So let's first take a look at this page, and there's a big heading at the top that says, "What is pollen?" Read the heading back to me. Awesome. Follow along as I read the text. If I take a big pause, you go ahead and say that word that I'm leaving out. Let's get started. Pollen is the yellow, white, or brown powder at the center of most. Pollen is an important food for bees and some other. And let's take a look here at the picture of the bee. That picture is a text feature. And notice there is a caption that talks about the bee. A caption is another text feature that helps readers understand. And notice here is a label that tells us more about a certain part of the picture. So pay attention to these text features like pictures and captions as we continue to read. Let's take a look at page 5. Notice this page has a heading as well, an important part of flowers. Pollen is a very important part of many. It is the part of a flower that plants need to make fruit, seeds, and new. To make new plants, pollen has to move from one flower part to another of the same kind of. Most flowers need pollinators, say that word, pollinators, to move their pollen. Pollinators are animals such as bees, wasps, butterflies, and other small that visit. Kiss your brain, readers. Notice the other text features on this page. What is this? This is a picture. This is a caption. This is a. Notice the picture and the caption help us better understand the important part of flowers that is pollen. So, before we move on with our reading, we're going to go into our workbook today and practice answering some questions to show our clear understanding. Let's take a look at our CFS. We know that good writers respond clearly to show their deep understanding of what they have read. So let's take a look at our criteria for success. Criteria number 1, restate question using keywords. Criteria number 2, start sentences with capitals. Criteria number 3, end sentences with periods. Criteria number 4, use vocabulary from the text. Criteria number 5, reread your answers. Do they make sense? So we're going to use this criteria today as we practice answering some questions. This is where you're going to need your pencil and your paper. So let's take a look at this first question. It says, what is a pollinator? So the key word in this question would be what? Yes, a pollinator. So the question is really asking for us to give a definition of what a pollinator is. So how could we restate that question using the key word pollinator? Yes, we could say a pollinator is, and we'll use vocabulary from the text to answer that question. So help me out. I'm going to start this sentence with a capital. I'm going to say a pollinator is. Now, I need to go back to the text so I can find the best definition and use vocabulary from my text. So let's pop back over. And it says, pollinators in bold right here. So I'm going to zoom in around that area to see what a pollinator is. Oh, look at right here. It says, pollinators are animals such as bees, wasps, butterflies, and other small animals that visit flowers. So it sounds to me like a pollinator is a small animal that visits flowers. And I'm going to be sure to end my sentence with a period. Yes. All right. So now I'm going to reread my sentence to see if it makes sense. The question says, what is a pollinator? And I said, a pollinator is a small animal that visits flowers. Is that what the text said? Pollinators are animals. It gives some examples that visit flowers. So yes. Kiss your brains, friends. Say, we did that. Okay. Now, we're going to go to page 10 and 11, and we're going to start reading about some traits of flowers that attract pollinators to them. And again, we're going to pay attention for the text features. What are the other things that help us navigate through this awesome text? And we're also paying attention to what we learn about pollination. So take a look at the heading, shapes and colors. So again, when I leave a word out, you're going to read that word loud and proud. Most animals pollinate when they look for nectar. Nectar is a liquid found in many. The bright colors and sweet smell of a flower tells pollinators that the flower contains or pollen for them to. Flowers that are pollinated at night have very strong scents to make it easier for pollinators to find. And notice this picture here. If we want to know more about the picture, we look at the caption. Follow along. The Luna moth is a beautiful nighttime pollinator. Notice this page has lots of helpful text features like pictures and, you guessed it, captions. Let's take a look at these captions to learn more. Orchids, that's a type of flower, have special markings that guide insects to their nectar. A paper kite butterfly is pollinating an orchid. So notice this caption tells you what's going on in this picture. Hummingbirds have long beaks and very long tongues. They are able to feed at flowers that are too deep or thin for other pollinators to reach. The Jack-in-the-Pulpit plant does not smell sweet. In fact, it smells like dead meat. This plant attracts flies to pollinate it. Okay, so now let's see if we can answer this question using our criteria for success in a way that shows our deep understanding. What are 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators to them? So let's dive into this question and see what are the key words. 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators. So this question is really asking, what do flowers have? So I'm going to put have, or what are their features that make the pollinators want to come visit them? So let's go back to the text, and we're looking for 3 things that make animals want to come visit them, or make pollinators rather. So most animals pollinate when they look for nectar. Nectar is a liquid found in many flowers. Oh, so it sounds to me like one thing that attracts pollinators might be nectar. So I'm just going to make a little note of that. The bright colors and sweet smell of a flower tells pollinators that the flowers contain nectar. Oh, so I'm saying also smell and colors attract pollinators. Flowers that are pollinated at night have very strong scents to make it easier for pollinators to find them. And again, a scent is how it smells. So let's think about now how we can restate this question and make it super clear that we understand that 3 traits that attract pollinators to flowers are nectar, smells, and colors. So let's think. How should we restate this question? What is it really asking us about? That's right. It's asking us for 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators. So we can say 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators are. So 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators are. We haven't even answered the question yet, friends. We've just set up our answer using keywords from the question. So now we're going to give our answer of nectar, smells, and colors. And we're going to make sure to separate all of those different things with a comma because this is a series. You'll learn more about that when we get back to school, I promise. So these 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators are nectar, comma, smells, comma, and colors. And what do I need to do to finish up my answer? End it with a period. Now we want to reread it and make sure it makes sense. 3 traits of flowers that attract pollinators are nectar, smells, and colors. Does that make sense? Did we use words from the text? We did. Kiss your brains. Okay, tune in next time and we're going to read about do we need pollinators? And we're going to practice giving clear answers to this question, why are pollinators important to people? See you next time.